Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, and I want to talk about how he's using an authorized cheat code to move forward in his life, which is Harvard. I don't think I'm kind of, I want to bear down on this issue of Harvard. He's a Harvard graduate, and that means a lot, and we need to talk about it, right? Because this is our guy. This is the guy that we're choosing to put in as president. And we need to talk about every aspect of how he's getting there. And we need to talk about him honestly and understand who we are supporting and why we're supporting him and what all of this means. So, really fascinating guy. Vivek Ramaswamy is my pick for 2024 for the United States president. I want him to defeat Donald Trump. And the reason why I want him to defeat Donald Trump is I want what Donald Trump gave us, which is a sound and robust economy. No two ways about it. President Donald Trump delivered that, and he delivered it in large amounts. He delivered it at the macro level. I had cars in the driveway, looking at buying a second house when he was president. Now, again, like we talk before we buy eggs. It's like it is incredible. And what 2020 to 2024 really showed the world is that the Democrats are not a wartime consigliere, and that cowardice will produce war. Right? Like it is my full humble opinion that Ukraine was attacked specifically by Vladimir Putin because of Biden's weakness and cowardice, President Biden's weakness and cowardice. He knew that President Biden would not have the spine to put boots on the ground, American U.S. boots on the ground in Russia. He wouldn't have the spine to really take Russia, to take Russia and split it between the U.S. and Ukraine for having the audacity to question Ukraine's sovereignty. Right, so he just he rolled on, and he knew he could push President Biden around, and he was right. President Biden has turned out to be the weakest, most cowardist president we've had in my lifetime, at least. Right? I don't want to say the most because we did go through a civil war, and there was some really weak, cowardly candidates in the South. I'm going to say flat out, there's a bad candidates in the South. Like Confederate was not it was a very evil organization, right? So, and I don't think he was as bad as them. So, but he's certainly the most weak and cowardly president in my lifetime, right? So, but the problem with President Donald Trump is he sacrificed absolutely massive character. President Donald Trump unhinged the U.S. presidency from character. The Democrats had already done it with President Bill Clinton. Everybody knew, oh man, that guy's a bad guy, right? And then the Republicans were like, we'll both do bad people, villains, for president, right? All right. So Vivek comes along, right? And he is an Ivy League graduate, right? He is a Harvard graduate, right? Now, what we now know is I play Fortnite. Fortnite has this special creators mode where you can get 500,000 experience points a day. It's approved within the system, but it's built by a third party within the system, right? And I think this is what we've done, very much this is what we've done in American society. This is very much what we've done in American society overall. We've created this situation where if you get an Ivy, you're on cheat mode. You are just going to be able to catapult forward and go so much farther, so much faster than anyone who doesn't have one of these degrees that it seems unfair, right? Now the reality is we can't get rid of the Ivies, and the reason why is they're incredibly valuable to Americans, and they're incredibly valuable to the entire world, right? Like literally, and this is another thing is America has to understand where it's at, right? One of the reasons why America is so powerful is if you need the best of a certain thing, you're going to get it from America. And basically, Americans try to get the best from its own nation, But if you're in another country and you need the best of XYZ, 9 chances out of 10, you're going to get it from America. And nowhere in the world can create it. And it's the same thing with the Ivies. There's no institutions in the world that compare to the Ivies, that can catapult you farther and faster, right? So if we know this is like an authorized cheat code, how can we make things fair? How do we make things fair, right? Well, right now, that process is, the fairness has to come from the people who receive it, right? Because we don't have any leveling mechanisms. There are no leveling mechanisms. Okay, it's important to understand this. Like, if you have an Ivy, and that's what Vivek has, if you have an Ivy graduate degree, you're going to be massively unfairly catapulted forward in life at a level that is just, it's not even denied, right? Like, your vocabulary, your cadence, your sense of style, all these things, like, people just are, they're led by them. It's just a reality, right? So you have all this happening, and the reality is, the biggest thing right now is, I think that the great thing about Vivek is he has this unfair advantage, right? But he wants to bring everything President Donald Trump brought, a robust, sound economy that will help every American and will help the world, and will end us being on the 1 centimeter away for a year and a half, from 1 centimeter away from being in World War III, which President Biden has built every single day, right? Like, he has dangled the American people at the precipice of World War III for a year and a half, right? And all he had to do was show strength and show courage, and it all would have disappeared, right? U.S. boots on the ground in Ukraine would have ended all this 18 months ago, right? Like, it just required courage and strength, right? But President Biden refuses to show either one of those qualities. So Vivek wants to give us everything President Donald Trump gave us, but say Republicans to do this without getting a supervillain to do it, which is exactly what President Donald Trump is. He, like, and it's not debatable. Like, come on, like, nobody can be like, oh, President. Nobody can even. There's no one who could say President Donald Trump is a good guy. Is he? It seems like on record he's already admitted that, like, his third wife was having their baby while he was having an affair. That's not even debatably like an action of a good person, right? He's a human monster, right? And so Vivek is like, what if we could buy eggs and we could be led, and I can restore faith in the Republicans that you can get a good, strong economy with a hero. You don't have to make a deal with the devil and take a villain in order to have strong leadership. So that, I think right now, he is using what's given to him to make everyone else better and give everybody else a chance to land in a place where they have more and they are in a better position. However, it is interesting that, like, since we know these Ivies are so strong, that there may be a point where we're like, okay, we have built a structure in our world where we're giving advantages that are so outlandishly unfair that it might be time to consider figuring out how to level the playing field, right? So I think Vivek does it on its own because he knows it's the right thing to do, right? But do we need to do this in a systemic way? I think it's a good question. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.